It's super loud, yeah.
We're out at the Lola. There's hundreds of fans out here, so it makes it kind of hard to hear, but we're having a good time, and we're making sure that Packers fans don't have a say in what we are saying tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. It's super loud in here. And my man Tyler's over here. He doesn't have a cheese head. He has a cheese grater head, which I have never seen before. It's pretty dope.
That's funny. When I first saw him, I thought it was just like a cinder block, and I didn't get it. And then he turned to the side. I was like, oh, that's a cheese grater? That is funny.
I keep telling you guys, this is so different for me as a former player. Normally right now I'm in the locker room. We're getting ready. We got an hour before the game gets started. We're walking through our process, and then being on this side of the fence and watching it and checking it out is really awesome to watch how much of what the fans go through, how much passion they have, what they look like, which is weird and exciting at the same time. But
what somebody looks like.
Well, they're passionate. I mean, you got a grater on your head. Some people got cardinal birds, and they're dressed up with a mask on, a farmer's hat. Like, there's so much stuff going on. But yeah, it's the Bird Gang Travel Club. That's what they do. That's how much love they show. It's PHNX. We live right here in Lola, and we're getting it in.
Speaking of Bird Gang Travel Club up in the chat, a super chat. Thank you, Bird Gang Travel Club, for showing us some love.
That's right. Cup for Frank. A plastic cup is going to have to be a pin cup for Frank tonight. Cheers to that, though.
Pray for this man.
You guys are veterans on this, because I did not grab a drink before we started this, but you guys have full cups.
Welcome to the big show.
We're flanked by our elders here, which is appropriate on each side of us.
Oh, check out the crowd!
Look at that, man. How awesome is that? Cardinals are represented in the building, man.
Yes, it doesn't get much better than this. How exciting. Shall we get into the matchup?
Let's do it.
Unfortunately, a lot of this matchup is about the injuries. Who's not going to be on the field tonight? We just learned that Cardinals center is their second-string guy in place of Rodney Hudson. Max Garcia is inactive tonight. He won't play, so Sean Harlow will get the start. And I think a lot of people are worried about that center position and what the offensive line is going to be able to do tonight.
Yeah, it's concerning to say the least when you think about where this team was at from an interior pressure standpoint. They were already not strong each of the past 2 weeks. Houston got interior pressure, as did Cleveland. Josh Jones at right guard has not been playing particularly well. And so now you're thinking to yourself, okay, Max Garcia, serviceable veteran, he's out, and you're going to go with a former fourth-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons that has been under offensive line coach Sean Klugler for each of the past 2 years. So he's not a street free agent. He's got some familiarity with this team. But you just think about Kenny Clark, Packers defensive tackle, is probably licking his chops, because I've said this over and over. Kyler Murray is not typically susceptible to edge pressure because he's an elite out-of-pocket thrower. But when you get big bodies up front that are 6'4", 6'5", and collapse the pocket and don't allow him to step up and throw downfield, that's a problem. So if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I need to be semi-conservative to start this game. I need to run the football and alleviate some of that pressure that you know is going to come as a result.
I don't know. According to every single defensive scheme in the last couple weeks that has been somewhat effective against Kyler, it's been the nose tackles and the defensive line that's kind of stayed back, waited for that outside pressure to corral Kyler, and then they collapse the pocket afterwards. Yeah. So maybe if Kyler learns his lesson over the last couple weeks, he'll see those running lanes in the middle and step up into the pocket for throwing lanes as opposed to getting the pressure up the middle, which hasn't really happened. He's just panicked and tried to go outside time after time.
This is a mental and emotional adjustment for both teams. Both teams do not have they're not walking into the stadium with all their weapons, and so that is a mental and emotional adjustment. But I tell you what, both teams will be ready to play. This is a 4-quarter football game, so everything you guys said I agree with, and you just have to figure out what's the best way to walk away with a W.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to continue on down the list of injuries. So big news last night that shocked the world, not because he was injured, but because we just didn't see him coming at this moment. J.J. Watt is likely going to go have surgery on that shoulder that could end his season. And it's interesting because he played through that injury on Sunday, which was an atrocious injury. He tore basically everything that exists in your shoulder. to some degree, and played through it, and we just didn't hear much about it all week long. It flew under the radar, and then all of a sudden it was like, bam, Schefter, he's likely out for the season.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in previewing Houston. I think you said it, Chierstin. Hey, at what point do you pull the Watts of the world to save them for the rest of the season, assuming you're up big? Because we know J.J. Watt's robust history, unfortunately, and he got pulled, I want to say, early in the fourth quarter, and I didn't think anything of it, but the starters were still out there. Kingsbury doesn't make a comment about it in the post game. And then you hear, okay, he's out for Thursday. All right, you figure, well, he's over 30, quick turnaround. Big picture, you want him healthy for the stretch we're on the postseason. And then news came out last night that his shoulder is essentially mangled. It was confirmed, Chierstin, this morning by multiple outlets that, it's not just one thing. So anybody doubting his toughness, which I'm sure there are a few that do at this point, to me, it's demoralizing because he was the heartbeat of this team defensively. Outside of Kyler Murray, in my opinion, the singular player that they could not afford to lose. Now you just hope that the messaging, the leadership that he's brought this team over the course of the first 7 weeks can translate to the back end of this season, because the games have to continue. Guys like Jordan Phillips, Zach Allen have to step up. But, man, in the short term, it's going to be a gut punch.
Well, it's not really a short term. What's the solution now? Are we going to ride with who we have, or do you think Keim's going to make one more deal to kind of reinforce that defensive line? Fletcher Cox.
They have no more money. They just freed up a little bit with Jordan Phillips' salary negating to a signing bonus, but that was to engulf Zach Ertz's contract from Philadelphia. So Fletcher Cox makes, I think, 8 figures. So anybody of note that you'd want to bring on, number one, they don't have 4th or 5th round picks next year. So you're talking about, okay, if you want to entice somebody, you're going to give up your 3rd, or you're essentially going to punt on the large majority of the draft next year, which I'm okay with if it's a Super Bowl run. But, the trade deadline, unfortunately for Steve, you're going to have to assess it after tonight. If guys don't perform, you've got 3.5 days. It's on Tuesday. So that sense of urgency, I'm sure, is already there. They'll bring guys in. They'll work people out. My guess is, and I know people don't want to hear this, I think they're going to roll with what they have.
If Vance keeps putting together this band of misfits in a very good situation, scenario-wise, I don't think we have to go out and get somebody. I think that the team, the way they look right now, and the way he's maneuvering through the process of finding the right combination, I think he's been excellent at that job. But most importantly, the offense is putting up 30 points a game. So damn near, honestly, you don't really have to worry about a whole bunch of teams when you're putting up 30 points a game. And you can do more because you're really not dominating teams the way you can. You're leaving a lot of plays on the field. So it's a scary situation only because you're losing such a weapon that you brought in with the intent for leadership purposes as well as on the field, and not just off the field but on the field. Not having him is one thing, but I've been liking what we've been doing. Marcus Golden was playing absolutely fabulous in his role. Now we got Chandler Jones back. Hopefully he's back healthy and able to play consistently. They've been bringing in guys and moving guys around. Hopefully Phillips can play. And that is a position where I like what Vance has been doing. We've said he's been creative versus the teams we played. You played literally 2 of the most, or 3, I would consider potent offense. 4, actually. Let me back up. Between the Titans and their running game, you dominated that. Then you went into Minnesota and you gave them a good fight, although your quarterback ran for a couple yards. The next couple of 2 teams between the Rams and the Browns were the 2 toughest teams you would have faced offensively with their weapons, and you really dominated those games. So, to me, I like what we have and what we bring to the table.
I will say, in terms of Watt, I think it was 2019 that he had an injury that people assumed it was going to be season-ending, and he was able to return for the playoffs. And so I think right now everybody is waiting for that second opinion and hope that the Cardinals without him are still a playoff team, and hopefully they'll get him back in time for the playoffs and they'll become a Super Bowl contending team. But I'm not, I think it begs the question, are they a Super Bowl contender without J.J. Watt?
I would say yes still. I would say a lot of teams would love to have the bookend pass rushers of Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden. Both guys are going to reach double-digit sacks. You can be semi-average on your front 3 defensive line if you have elite linebackers. And the Cardinals, in my opinion, have one of the best linebacking corps in all of football running that 3-4 scheme. So I would still say yes. But at the same time, it's going to be much more difficult to get to the Super Bowl now without Watt when you consider the benefit of something like home field advantage, which they're going to fight and claw for, having to potentially fight the Rams off for the division. You have Watt, that becomes exponentially easier. So to answer your question, I think they're a contender still because of what they've already accomplished defensively, but it's going to be difficult.
Shout out to the fan in the back being a creep, which is funny. I love it. Also, shout out to the two fans that were sitting here. They were stuck in the corner. I told them we were going to start the show. They were like, we'll be good. And then they were like, oh, man, we can't really walk in front of the camera. So they hurdled the fence and got out. Major props.
Did they pay their tab? I hope they did.
Kevin and
It's open bar, John.
Kevin and
Hell yeah, that's
Kiana.
right.
To
It's
Kevin and
open
Kiana.
bar, and there's a buffet
And we're
here
at
as
Lola.
well.
Let's go, baby.
Heck yeah.
The crowd is looking. Look at that view of the crowd. That's
Oh, there's
Tyler
your
from
cheese
Bird Game
grater.
Travel
There you
right
go.
there with the cheese. Great head right there. He's on the screen. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
We love it.
That's
It's
great.
it's awesome.
It is.
It warms my heart.
All right, where do we go from here? You want to talk about what the Packers are missing today? No Devontae Adams, no Allen Lazard, their top two of their top receivers, and their defensive coordinator out today as well.
For me, if Green Bay is going to make this competitive, which the spread right now has gone back up to 6.5 after dipping yesterday to 6, they're going to try to run the football right at J.J. Watt's replacements on the defensive line. It's going to be an Aaron Jones kind of game, A.J. Dillon kind of game, where they're going to control the tempo, they're going to work off the play action, they're going to get Robert
When
Tonyan
is
the
it
ball.
not an Aaron Jones kind of game?
Well, I feel like with Rodgers, it can be an Aaron Jones game if he wants it to be. I think for them today, it'll be predicated on them being able to run the football successfully because I don't care who you are. If you lose your top 3 receiving targets, which the Packers have now, that is like Arizona going down to just like Andy Isabella is their number 1 receiver. With all due respect to Andy. So
But he's right. He's right there.
Leave
He's
him
right there.
alone.
Not that big of a. I mean, it's a
it's
drop,
huge.
but
It's
it's not that
huge.
significant. I
Can
mean, come
we
on,
all
dog.
leave Andy alone?
Going from D-Hop
It's
to
a
Andy,
huge
like,
decision.
no, this is not that at all.
I think that's what's happening.
Zach Allen
huge.
is a suitable replacement. He's
I'm talking about the
Jordan
Packers
Phillips.
receiving core, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but like, man, bro.
And like this game is considering not having the weapons that A-Rod would love to have, you have to believe that we have an advantage. But in truth, the statistics say that he plays better.
Yeah.
The conversation becomes what we do versus them to disrupt that situation and attack the other guys. Look, there's no other receivers that's going to play like Lazard or that's going to play like Devontae. Nobody's on that team going to play like that.
When the Packers are without Devontae Adams, they played without him 6 times. What's their record?
6-0.
Yes. How many
We have a
points per
graphic to show
game?
that too.
And their points per game increase.
So my only question is this here. This is what I'm going to go back to. Now, there's pride on the table. Statistically, K1 is dominating AR, 100%. K1 is dominating AR in the stats category. And everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers being the MVP or up for the MVP. Well, this is an MVP game. And if you are Cliff Kingsbury and you're the Green Bay Packers head coach with 2 top-tier quarterbacks, this is a chess match of whose quarterback is better than who, and can I call the right plays to allow you to exploit the other team's defense. And to me, honestly, Chierstin, I think right now this is going to be a throwing match, not a running game match, and I think that they both are going to try to show who will win the MVP based upon this game.
Well, unfortunately, it's not just Devontae Adams that's out. So we do have a graphic, Aaron Rodgers with and without Devontae Adams. Yes, he is 6-0 with Adam. His completion percentage is better, as is his passing yards. He's thrown 17 touchdowns, just 1 interception, and his passer rating is better as well. So he plays really well without Devontae Adams. But again, we're not just talking about being down one weapon.
Right.
And this is what I think is the biggest differentiator. The Packers have to play almost mistake-free football because they do not have explosive playmakers outside of the running backs in the passing game. And so you're going to have to put together, if you're Green Bay, against, by the way, the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. I know without J.J. Watt, but you have Chandler Jones coming back. They're going to have to put together 7, 8, 10-play drives in order to score touchdowns. Whereas the Cardinals, we've seen it all year, they can have explosive plays whenever they want. It doesn't matter the down and distance. I think that the Packers are going to be predicated without wanting to turn the football over, obviously, but they could find themselves down quickly if their defense isn't up to snuff and their offense can't sustain drives. And that's the biggest thing. When you don't have people who can move the sticks consistently, like a Davante Adams, which they're so predicated on, and their second and third receiver, like, how are you going to sustain drives? To me, it's going to be running the football. They have to be ready to sell out for the run, and if Amari Rodgers beats Robert Alford in coverage, you let the chips fall where they may there. But you have to go in this game understanding the Packers' mindset of wanting to run the football.
But that's the beauty of Aaron Rodgers. He makes the average look super average in these kind of games.
The receivers got to hold up their end of the bargain too.
True.
They got to catch the football. They got to separate.
But you can't just completely sell out for the run, because you do have that guy back there, and he is the difference maker.
So great coaching. So let's go back to what we talked. And I think it's a very pivotal moment when Kyler said this was the greatest game plan we had against the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep.
I'm gonna just take that and move right now to where, if God forbid the Green Bay Packers win, it would be a great game plan. And when you know you don't have your weapons, you have to game plans extremely well versus your opponent. And right now, we know Aaron Rodgers statistically can play well. We know he don't have all his pieces, but the play action pass, the West Coast offense of getting the ball out your hand fast, he still have two bad behind tight ends that can get it done. And they've been doing it in the lead. Of course, he's been throwing the ball to Davante and Lizard and other guys, but in truth, sometimes when you look at the game plan, your game plan can beat a better team if it's done well. And again, we're talking about MVP, Super Bowl champ, Aaron Rodgers. So there are a lot of things on the table not to be taken for granted, but in truth, our team is better than their team on paper and what we've done consistently right now in the last 6 games.
Frankie said it, MVP, Super Bowl champion versus an up-and-coming quarterback that's trying to prove that he's able to lead a team to be a Super Bowl contender. We have a graphic here that shows Murray versus Rodgers. And Kyler Murray's having a better year in every category than Aaron Rodgers is so far.
To me, it's the maturation process, third year. It's also, I'll be honest with you, I mean, the Cardinals have elite skill players. And I'm not going to put it all on the skill players. Kyler's doing a lot of this on his own. But I think we'll see it tonight. I mean, Rodgers is so Davante dependent, not historically, but this year. I feel like the Cardinals now, with Zach Ertz, that receiving core, Hopkins is active in case you hadn't heard. I think it's unparalleled in the NFL from top to bottom, and I would include Chase Edmonds and James Conner in that category.
I mean, this might be the best receiving core in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, people need to start acknowledging that. But at the same time, when you acknowledge that, the problem is that you completely go to the air raid and all this lazy take kind of syndrome.
Yeah.
It's more than that. Kyler, Chase, Connor, like, they all are efficient on the ground, and that's what you have to account for. So when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, it's all nice and it's cute that, you know, he has Davante Adams and basically nothing else. We're going to find out tonight how much those other receivers are really worth their weight in gold.
Everyone calling it an air raid offense would be shocked to know that the Cardinals have actually ran the ball more than they've passed this
It's
season.
the laziest take of all time.
They're third in rushing without Kyler Murray essentially being a factor as a runner this year.
Yeah.
Look for that to happen tonight, by the way.
You're waiting for that, aren't you?
Kyler's going to rush for like at least 70 tonight, in my opinion.
Well, I think
Good call.
I
That's
think
a good call.
all eyes are going to be on this matchup, and I think we're going to see a few players that rise to the occasion. I think Kyler Murray is really going to want to have a good game. We talked about it earlier in the week. Aaron Rodgers, a guy that he grew up idolizing, he wanted to be like, and for him to be in prime time versus A-Rod, the records speak for themselves. I mean, this is a big-time matchup, and I think we're going to see special things out of Kyler tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think Kyler is he wants to run the ball in certain moments, especially near the goal line, because he wants that love. We all want that love, right? But I think tonight, especially, the eyes of the entire country are on this game. It's the premier game of the week, period, in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's not another game that's even close to this. This is Kyler's time. I've been waiting for it all year, man. I told you, like, I'm waiting for that one game where everybody's like, damn, this is the time to do it.
So the Cardinals and Packers have had some very interesting interesting matchups here at State Farm Stadium. Do we want to review some of the most historic moments between the two teams, starting with the Carlos Dansby fumble return back at the, was it 2010?
2009.
I think it was technically
in 2010.
In 2010, but
2010.
2009.
Yeah.
Wow.
Michael Adams picked on all afternoon, gets the strip sack, got away with a face mask, and Dansby takes it home.
29 of 33 for Kurt Warner in that game, 6 touchdowns. He had more touchdowns than he did incompletions, but then you have this guy doing this. Aaron Rodgers with
Thank
the
God
Hail
Jeff
Mary.
Janis isn't playing tonight, by the way.
Goodness.
That was in 2016 to tie it up and force overtime.
Got a little Patrick P playing behind the defender.
It's like, what happened? I was there.
He got boxed out. That's what happened.
Is this the Hail Larry?
Oh yeah, this is Larry right here. Carson Palmer across the field.
Baby Jesus,
and he found that extra gear somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. He was
God,
like,
Larry.
That's that B button. Go. That's that
We're
B
forgetting
button on
to mention
PlayStation.
there was also a pivotal moment in between those two plays, which was the coin flip that didn't flip.
yes. But also, remember, Aaron Rodgers in that 2009 game, before he got the fumble, he had it was Donald Driver wide open down the middle of the field and overthrew him, which would have been ball game.
Yeah.
And then the next play, Dansby runs it. I mean, the Packers versus the Cardinals here in State Farm, even before the 2009 game, I remember the 2010 game, the game before that, the Packers played here in State Farm, so they stayed here for 2 weeks. And so that game, Aaron Rodgers and company went off, and it was like, I think the final score was like something like 36-7, and he did the whole belt flex like over and over again. So it was kind of sweet revenge, and I'm just happy that Aaron hasn't gotten the best of us, luckily, here at State Farm, because every one of those games is a classic.
Yeah. Let's hope tonight's not a classic and it's a lopsided
No, let's hope for a classic.
I'm
I
down
love
for a
classics.
classic all day.
Yes.
I want a comfortable game.
Crazy. Let's go
Comfortable
crazy,
game.
Johnny. Let's
That's
go crazy.
boring, Johnny.
I want to see continued dominance from this team.
I want to see a 6-3 ball game and good rushing on both sides.
I don't sound like that.
Absolutely not. You want to see that kind of game. This game will be between two teams playing it out. I think my predictions, I don't know if we're talking about that right now. But,
Sure, we can.
but my predictions was I thought the Cardinals were going to blow these guys out. I really 100% thought they were. I went with this crazy number of 42-17 because I believe that the Cardinals, well, here's the thing. We've left enough plays on the field that has limited us from not being as explosive and as dominating as we want it to be. I believe that the Cardinals right now, the way they playing, and versus a team that really, as JV said early in the week, this is really an average secondary and a real average secondary. So to me, I believe our team can offensively, we will still go out and do what we want to do, dominate, throw the ball we've been throwing it. Kyler just has to make good decisions, not get too greedy and throw the ball interceptions. But in truth, this is a turnover battle. They're going to try to defend and control the ball because they don't have their weapons. But when we get the ball back, we're the number 1 team in the NFL on turnovers and touchdown ratio of scoring. So to me right now, I believe we're in a good spot to be in a position where we can score a 42-point versus 17.
42-17 Cardinals for Frank. What about you, Johnny?
So I've gone back and forth. I'm kind of a fraud with this because on bets today I said I thought the Cardinals would cover the 6.5-point spread. I'm going to go back on that. Now that Max Garcia is not playing, that's concerning. I'm going to stick with my original prediction. I think the Cardinals win. I think it's relatively close, 27-24.
Ooh. Honestly, I think the defense is going to hold serve. I think they're going to do their part against Aaron Rodgers. I think they'll give him a couple bunnies because that's what defenses do against Aaron Rodgers every now and then. So I'm going to go with 38-17.
Wow.
Hey, can I ask something before you ask something, Chierstin? They're playing in the NFC North, and honestly,
Which is trash.
Thank you.
Super trash.
And we're
That's
playing
true.
in the NFC West, which is a beast. So I think if Aaron took an L on this game, he'd be like, "We're still getting in the playoffs." And that to me is a concern right now.
So do the Cardinals have the opportunity to expose Green Bay for what they are then?
Yes, because the NFC West has historically exposed
That's what you're saying.
Aaron
That's what I'm
Rodgers
saying.
both in the regular season and the postseason. Kaepernick used to run all over this team. Russell Wilson's beat Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game. The Cardinals are undefeated in the playoffs. Just the physical style of play in the NFC West compared to the NFC North, which is a couple
Cupcake
middling
football.
franchise.
Cupcake football.
It's just he's great,
They're
but I
playing-
feel like their team as a whole is not great because of the fact that they play down their competition.
Yeah, they're playing checkers, and we're playing chess.
That's right.
Johnny. Hell yeah.
Well, my score prediction is 31-20 Cardinals, but I am so confused. I just really don't know what this game is going to look like with the missing pieces. I just have a hard time betting against Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if he's got his weapons or not. He's on the other side. I don't know. At 31-20,
Hey,
I think I...
Anytime you got a bet for Aaron Rodgers, always take the bet if he's playing an NFC East team, because the NFC East sucks too.
Very true.
There you go. There you go. All right, do we want to play a little game of
Yes.
trick or treat?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's just start off with the fun one. Trick or treat, Frank will make it through the post-game show
I promise you I won't
without
die.
slurring his words.
That is the biggest trick I've ever heard since this company started.
I'm a pro.
I
I'm
will
a
not be tricked by
professional.
that.
Thank you,
Treat,
JV.
treat. Hey, all
I'm a
them
pro.
SEC tailgates, and after he retired, I
I'm a
know
pro.
how many he's gone to. He's trained his kidneys and his
Yes.
liver just for this. He's ready to go. My man's gonna make it through.
My dude, I'm saying, yes.
SEC tailgates will prepare you for just about any tailgate that you
tailgate
need
you're
to
ready
attend.
for.
I don't know. He's having drinks delivered while we're doing the show right now, so I don't know if that's a good sign.
he's
Oh,
prime-
my
hey,
goodness.
Somebody's,
prime time, baby.
hey,
Right.
somebody's buying and I'm not, so run that.
Frank, why didn't you
Run
order me one?
I apologize, sir. I
God,
apologize, Trisha. What you want? Because I know my
No, I'm
man.
good now.
I got a guy. I got a guy.
I got a guy.
What you need?
They got some kind of white claw around here
I
or
got you.
something?
I'm about
they
to-
do.
It's coming.
They do.
Booty hoo!
All right, so we talked about this yesterday. Will Jake from State Farm be on the field or at State Farm Stadium? Because as we know, he is friends with Aaron Rodgers, and supposedly he's going to be
That's
at
good.
next week's game. But will he be here today?
Trick. No.
Trick?
I think that's too good of a marketing opportunity for State Farm, so I would say yes, he'll be there tonight.
I'm a fan of that safe statement. I think he should, and he would. If he don't, he's cheating himself because this is the greatest opportunity. The stadium, A-Rod. Look, Kyler deserves, if you don't get a Geico commercial, he definitely deserves a State Farm
Hey,
commercial.
hey, trick or
Aaron
treat.
Rodgers-
Trick or treat. Chris Paul's gonna throw out the coin flip too,
What?
because he's a State
'cause
Farm
he's-
guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but Aaron said in his media availability this week, he was asked about the name of State Farm Stadium, and he's like, it's a special name, it's a great name. And then he said, I don't know if Jake's going to be there. He is going to be there next week, though, as if they're like BFFs, which sparked a whole... Johnny is friends with the original State Farm...
The
or
OG
Jake-
Jake, yes.
Yeah.
I grew up with them, played
What?
high school football
Yeah.
with Jake. Yep, absolutely.
Really? You played high school
Wow.
football with Jake?
Jake, the OG Jake.
The OG
Not
Jake.
the new Jake, who's clearly a professional
Oh.
actor, does a hell of a job. The OG Jake
The OG
worked
Jake.
in that call center. They pulled
What?
him and put him in the commercial creative services did. So I do know the OG Jake. Jake Stone, what's up, brother, if you're watching?
I need to holler at Jake.
How about that?
It's interesting. Also, Aaron Rodgers does State Farm commercials, so he's ordering me a drink. Is that what he's doing? I hope so, Frank.
Huh?
Better be doing that. Are you
Yeah,
gonna do that?
100%. I'm holding you a couple of them.
Trick or treat, Chandler Jones will have a monster game. See what I did there? Monster.
You know what? Let me say this here. He hasn't been around only because of COVID. We know he's a professional. We know he trains. Apparently, the 5-sack Chandler Jones of the Tennessee Titans. Hopefully, he comes back to the Green Bay Packers. This is the time to prove himself. This is the time to get paid. If you're gonna get paid on a big stage, this is the time to get paid on the big stage. And honestly, the band of misfits that was there with JJ, they did their jobs. Marcus Golden did their job, and honestly, I would love to see him do his part.
Treat. I absolutely believe it will happen.
Yeah, I do too. I'll say treat as well.
I'll say treat as well. I think this team has a tendency to rise up to an occasion. I think losing JJ is really going to inspire this defense. And Chandler's coming off COVID. There's been some speculation of, does he deserve a contract? Does he not? We're starting to talk about those things again. And we can't forget that he's in a contract year. I think he's going to be eager to get back out there, get after the quarterback, and play for JJ. So.
Hey, Steve Cobb and Michael Bidwell probably walked into that locker room today and patted him on the pockets and was like, hey, sucks to be you right now. But yeah, Chandler's got to step up. Tonight is the night to do so on the national stage. Get that money.
All right, trick or treat. Kyler Murray will show up his favorite quarterback.
If they want to win, he better, so I will say treat.
Treat. My man's going to put on a show tonight.
That's right.
I'm treating it because I know he understands. Every quarterback that's ever talked about Kyler, or every teammate that's talked about Kyler, said he's absolutely competitive. This is a moment to shine. This is a moment for him to rise up in the Red Sea of at State Farm Stadium to show that he's the dude and he's the man. And honestly, he does something that no one else has done in the NFL. He presents problems across the board, throwing and running. And yes, I will say he will show up as quarterback because he got his weapons and he still got his skill set.
I agree. I'm going with treat. Last one. The Cardinals defense will force multiple turnovers tonight.
Multiple. They've done it all year. I think they're top 5 in turnovers forced. So I'll say they keep it going. They'll get a Green Bay young receiver, runs the wrong route. Buda Baker, Byron Murphy will pick them off. They'll be going for the football. I'll say yes.
I'm gonna say trick. Aaron Rodgers, unless he's having a bad night, which he knows he cannot afford to do tonight, I just don't see that happening. So I'm gonna say trick.
Trick for me too. I think it's 3 and out. 3 and out is the conversation to get the ball back to the offense. Look, they got a good running game. They really, really do. But it's premised off of the idea that we're running play action or we're in a 4 wide receiver set. So to me, respectfully, I want to say trick because I just don't believe that they're gonna let them do it when they do it. I think 3 and out is what's gonna happen, and then we'll get the ball back.
I'm gonna excuse myself real quick while you finish up your trick or treat, so I can let our guy Bird Game Travel jump in the seat.
Yeah, and I gotta take off as well.
Well, then
so.
you just leave. I'll just stay here.
I'll see you guys after the game.
See you, Johnny.
Go to the game.
Go have fun.
All right.
Keep an eye out for Jake.
We running the show. No biggity, no biggity.
All right, as we get Tyler from Bird Game Travel Club in, I'll wrap this segment up.
Yeah. I thought he was going to bite
He
it.
almost took down the whole setup here.
The whole set.
I'm going to say treat in this regard because, as Frank taught me earlier in the season, it's not always interceptions, turnovers, and it's not always on the quarterback. And he's going to be playing with some targets that he might not have as much chemistry with. And hopefully we're talking about Chandler Jones having a monster game. Hopefully there's a strip sack or a couple of turnovers. I mean, I definitely think it's going to happen. So.
This offense is this offense is a true West Coast offense, which honestly is 2 receivers, 1 tight end, and two running backs. If you really want to if it's the Aaron Rodgers West Coast offense, then what happens is you still get what we call an A set, which is 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and an honest one running back. And all that is you're running play action pass and you're getting the ball out of his hand real fast to the tight end. So in truth, it's a 3 to 5 step drop back offense. It's quick, it's efficient, it's effective. If the Cardinals understand that and realize they've taken their weapons from deep threat in Lazard and also in Dante, then they will be ready for the challenge. And that's what you have to learn. And again, by the time we get to the third and fourth quarter, that's when you really see the change in what you've learned of what a team is able to and can do. And I believe the first and second quarter, they will be exposed what they can and what they cannot do.
All right, let's welcome in Tyler from the Bird Game Travel Club. We love your hat, first off. And also, I know that you hit it off quickly with Derek. We call him the mayor here. Can we call you the mayor of the Bird Game Travel Club?
I'll take it. I don't know if you saw, but when I went to put the headset on, I forgot I had the cheese grater on.
Yep.
And I had to quickly audible there. But yeah, we're here. This is awesome.
This is awesome.
Dude, thank you.
Man, this is great. I'm pumped.
Can you tell us where we find something like that?
So this was actually started by a company, I think in Chicago, because they were tired of all the cheeseheads coming to Soldier Field. And so it's, I don't remember the name of the company, but if you Google cheese grater head, you'll find it.
It's a great business. Get it?
Yeah.
Great? No?
Yeah,
cheese
there you
graters?
go.
Okay, cool.
I
All
didn't
right,
get it.
whatever.
It went way over my head.
We're all good.
But
Dad
Get
joke
a
of the
thumbs
week
down
right there.
from Jacob.
That company should be bought out by a Green Bay Packer fan who has a ton of dough so that Aaron Rodgers can never say, I own you when they come to Chicago.
Yeah, there you go.
They got a lot more problems than that, Frank.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Well, we just gave our score predictions. Do you have a score prediction for tonight's game?
Let's say 35-21.
That's really close to what I said.
All right, I'm going
35-21
Cards.
Okay, I like it.
I feel really good about it.
Yeah. Dude, Tyler, first of all, thank you for joining us. You've helped us coordinate this whole event, but you got so much stuff going on. You get a lot of love, but you guys do a great job at Bird Gang Travel. Tell us what's coming up for Bird Gang Travel here in the short-term future.
Yeah, no, we got a ton going on. We're going to do 2 more of these parties here at the Lola. We're going to do another one for the Monday Night Football game against the Rams, and then Christmas Day against the Colts. We'll be out here again. BirdGangTailgate.com. Those tickets will be up shortly for that. And then join us on the road. We'll be on the road for Dallas for New Year's. That's the big one. Yep. Big New Year's Eve weekend and party. And then Chicago, first week of December, we'll be out there. A little cold, but it's going to be a blast.
It's worth it, though. Yeah.
It's going to be worth it. You can't go to Chicago and not have it be cold. I mean, it's got to be experience. So, yeah.
There's nothing better than Soldier Field. Look, let me tell you something.
There's nothing better than Soldier Field.
Well, let me just say this here, because you know Chicago and you know Chicago's history. But in truth, when you get to the stadium and you see the pillars of statues that they have around the stadium, and to realize you're in Soldier Field that the great Walter Payton played on, and the 85 Bears, which really made them, and the Mike Dick, the coach team, it's just a special place to be. Chicago's great. If you're a Bird Gang, if you love the Cardinals, you need to go there to support them. You know we're going to smash the Chicago Bears back in that timeline, but in truth, you want to be there just for the fun. Chicago is great. When you're outside of the bay, you're sitting outside of that lake area, it's awesome. You can't beat it. Chicago's awesome in that time of year.
And real quick, you know what? The reason we started this was because when fans would talk about going on the road, they were always nervous that the home crowd is going to be, I can't wear my Cardinal stuff, I can't enjoy it. And that's the cool part about going with our big group, is you get a couple hundred Cardinal fans all together, all in red. It's a safe, fun environment, and you get to enjoy a whole weekend. It's like a vacation.
And Dallas is going to be lit.
I'm
trying to convince the company.
We need the whole show.
Well, I'm trying to get the whole crew on the road. We're going to travel. We're going to rent like 45 RVs and just pack that bitch. Let's go.
Hello, let's ride.
Brandon Spano doesn't know that, but that's what's going to happen.
I'm driving.
And you guys don't mess around, too. I think Michael Bidwell has shown up at some of your tailgates before. I mean, you got a solid group that goes.
No, that's the other part about going on the road, is at home you got 40, 50,000 Cardinal fans, except for today you might have a little bit of Packer fans in the house, but you got a ton. But on the road, it's 1,000 fans maybe that are in red, and you get a more intimate experience. The team really goes out of their way to come by the players on the road. I've seen so many fans get gloves, all kind of gimmies from the players. They'll hand them out, and then what's been great is ownerships came by. Michael Bidwell, he comes takes pictures with every fan. He'll stick around at the parties. It's a blast. It's something that you don't really see from other groups, other teams. It's something that makes this team different, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a special experience. I mean, Chierstin, you saw, like, when you, even as a media member, when you travel, the whole crew that's here at State Farm doesn't travel on the road. So it's a different experience. You get a little bit more intimate setting. You get to talk to the players or the coaches a little bit more one-on-one. It's almost the same thing for the fans. Being in the military, being outside of the state of Arizona, it was hard, and I had to go to opposing team stadiums to watch the Cardinals or the Suns, and so I respect the hell out of what he's doing, and I'm very proud to call them a partner of ours now, for sure.
Hey, you know what, Bird Gang? Literally, when I was married, I wouldn't let my wife go to the games because I didn't have a group to go with, because I felt like that was a very tumultuous situation. We went to Philly, we went to New York. You know how they act. Yeah. When you go to Oakland, you know how they act. Y'all know how y'all act, so don't act like it's brand new. And what I'm saying is new. You know how you act. So, in truth, but having camaraderie, having somebody to ride with, you got a group, you guys got to do a great job of scheduling. If at that time, we might, no, I'm just saying, but
I don't know where you're going.
I was going to say we might still be married, but I'm not going to say that because it wasn't because of that. But in truth, reality was that I wouldn't let her go because she didn't have the protection. And if you have the protection of your group, I think that's something that provides a wonderful situation for her.
Scariest experience of my life was going to Oakland. And we started Bird Gang Travel like 2 seasons later.
Chierstin got a dream.
There we go.
Cheers.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome. There you
I
go.
have no idea what this is.
Hey, it's
but
like a
cheers.
White Claw. There you go.
That says
Cheers.
Becky.
Cheers.
That's a Becky Claw.
Hey, where's Johnny to chug another beer? Do we got Johnny to chug another
No.
one?
Bip.
No?
What you want to
He's
do?
at
Johnny's on the clock
stadium.
tonight.
Yeah,
I
he's
know,
on the
I know.
He left me in charge of beer chugging.
We just need redemption for that one photo. I'm going
let
to
me
tweet
know.
that out
He'll
again.
get it eventually.
Yeah, we need.
He didn't want to spill.
That's my screensaver on my phone.
That's one of the funniest moments outside of Johnny
Yeah.
thinking that Saul was trying to make a your mama joke or something with Shane's mom, who is like a Hall of Fame writer. And
He's like, I didn't know that was his mom.
You was out trying to get some, hold on.
No. Like, genuine friend, buddy.
Genuine
Sorry,
friend.
Sorry to disappoint.
Awesome.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. We're thrilled to be partnering up with you guys, and I think all of the tailgates that you mentioned on the road, we're going to be a part of as well, broadcasting from your tailgates. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to have a lot of fun this season.
Excited.
For sure.
No, this was definitely better than a crud muffin. I appreciate you guys having me out, and let's go Cards. Let's get this win.
Absolutely.
Let's go
All right,
Cards.
Gabe,
Get
we'll
that
see
win.
you.
Thank you, brother. So awesome, man. Look, I've been trying to hook up with these guys for a minute. And as I said, a day ago was that I never had a chance to because we was always on opposite ends of the spectrum. Typically, as a former player, when they bring former players in, we're either on the lawn, and then they're not on the lawn. They're on the other side of the stadium, which is on the east side.
Yeah.
I missed them all the time. But having them in the house, I'm ready to rock with them.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, and plus in your days, man, Sun Devil Stadium was, that was not a fun experience.
Hey, look, don't talk bad about
That's
Sun
a
Devil Stadium.
sauna.
Sun
Hey,
Devil
I sat in the south end
Look,
zone of Sun Devil Stadium
Let
watching
me-
you catch passes. If I want to sit there and bitch about the heat at 105 degrees,
whatever
or
you
sitting
wanna
there
do,
when you
I
guys
just
played
wanna
the
let you
Giants
know.
in 1998 and it was sleeting outside,
It was sleeting,
Yes.
which was stupid
and
crazy. It
I was
sleeting
there
snow.
through it all.
Cheers. It was sleeting
Wait, at
snow.
Sun Devil Stadium?
Yes, it was
Oh,
sleeting.
wow.
It was the worst
Snow.
experience of my life.
It was crazy because you thought, like, did they bring the snow here? Because
Yeah.
there was snow-capped mountains on
Yeah.
Superstitious.
Cold as
Superstitious
hell.
Mountain. It was cold as frick. It was sleeping snow. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You don't think it snows in Arizona, but every now and then it does.
Oh, it definitely snowed.
But that's, of course, you never think it would snow in the valley, but it
I
does.
feel like it snows like at least once a year.
Well, if you do,
We get a little dusted up in northern Scottsdale once every year.
they do.
That ain't snow, Kristen. That ain't snow.
Chierstin, not your old coworker.
Chierstin is just a little bit, but let me tell you
That's it,
something.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said
Chierstin.
Kristen. You said Kristen.
Damn it.
You said Kristen?
That's
Yeah,
right.
because I used to work with a Kristen McDougal, and it just pops into my head.
That's
I'm
a
sorry.
big.
My
That's a
bad,
big
my
boo.
bad. Chierstin.
Hey, look,
Chierstin. Chierstin.
there
My
is
fault.
nothing like that moment. Today is going to be a moment. It's a national televised game. The Cardinals got to show up despite anything. And then honestly, we've been talking about how well Steve Keim has done with this roster and how well the coaches have kind of put it together. Look, this is a 17-week game. This is a 17-week season. And in truth, we're not even halfway. And we have to prove ourselves. We have to continually prove ourselves. JV, Chierstin, you always say this is one of the toughest schedules in the NFL consistently across the board. We're playing some of the top tier teams with not with a name, but with athletes. So across the board, this team has to show up every week. We always talk about leadership. Leadership has to show up despite knowing the fact that you don't have all your star players. Despite knowing you just lost one of your top tier players. So if it's me in the locker room, if it's us getting ready for the week, which is a very short week, you just have to trust your athletic ability to dominate the other player, and that the coach will call the plays that will allow it to happen. Because it's not a long time for these guys to prepare and game plan and question themselves and go back and forth between the defensive line coach and the defensive linebacker coach and It's not. We're better than them, find their weakness, and go out and exploit that. And to me right now, I think our team is better than their team. Again, it's the Green Bay Packers. Conversationally historic. We're fighting a historical conversation with a great quarterback historically, right? Who has historical numbers, who's showed it to play, who is literally one of the greatest quarterbacks ever put on a uniform in the NFL. And I'm not shortchanging Aaron Rodgers for nothing on the table. But tonight, he's facing the Arizona Cardinals with a really, really, really good team that can come out and play. And if they don't fear the idea of playing Aaron Rodgers, but understand that they have the power to go out and beat an Aaron Rodgers, just like they smashed a Stafford, just like they smashed, the Browns quarterback Mayfield, just like they smashed the boy Cousins over in Minnesota, and they stopped Derrick Henry. If you trust that without all your weapons, then tonight is no different. It's just another night to go out and play. Yeah. And if you play within that means, you will walk away with a win. I don't care if it's 2-1, if it's 5-7. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's a win. And nationally, to understand that conversation, it only explodes it only explodes what you're doing, where you're going, and it exposes all those naysayers from saying you're not that team. And Cliff will be considered. Honestly, after this game, this is the game that determines to me that they deserve to give Cliff another contract. If he wins, he deserves another 3-year contract for whatever it is, 17, 15, 25, whatever it is. But I think he deserves it after this game because he would have faced some of the brilliant minds of defensive coordinators as well as offensive coordinators in the NFL.
Listen, this game right here is game number 8. If they go 8-0, you're talking about a second half schedule that has four games against teams that are kind of beat up right now. 3 games because you got 2 against Seattle, 1 against San Francisco. Both those teams are not as good as advertised preseason.
Correct.
Still going to be a battle because it's within the division, but still and then you've already beat the Rams once. They got to come to your place next, and then you still got games against the Lions. You got games against the Colts,
the Cowboys,
and then you got the Cowboys. I'm telling you right now, if everything flushes out, that game against the Cowboys, in my estimation, and I keep saying this over and over again, will be for first place in the NFC for the playoffs because I just don't see a path where the Cardinals are going to fold like they did last year. I think they learned their lesson. Tonight is a night to prove that they've learned that lesson and they can smash a good opponent when they're down the way they should.
So Johnny mentioned yesterday that sometimes, we were talking about a win versus a loss and what that would mean for the Cardinals. And he said sometimes a win can be a good thing because it kind of reminds you that, you got to keep grinding. You can't let up. It could be sort of a reality check, a heat check for you. I think the best thing that can happen for the Cardinals is to face adversity. I'm not saying is for J.J. Watt or for anyone to go down, but to face adversity and realize that they can't let up. They can't let up. They can't let up. So we saw what they were able to do against Cleveland in the face of a ton of adversity. I think this team is battle tested in that regard. They've got the team chemistry, the camaraderie. They've got the right mindset to be able to overcome that. And I think something, and I mentioned this earlier, I think something like losing a guy like J.J. Watt, one of their leaders, one of the guys that when you go out there, you don't want to just play for the number on your jersey. You want to play for the guy next to you. When you're on defense, that's J.J. Watt. And so I think that they're going to take the adversity that has come their way, especially with this Watt injury, and use it as fuel to remember that, hey, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we're down JJ. We got to be that much better. We got to be that much better. And I think that they're going to use that to their advantage.
If JJ speaks the way if JJ's voice has any power the last 7 weeks that it has had, then the guys will realize they're not playing for themselves. We talk about I said this a couple weeks ago where I said JJ is showing selfless football and he's not showing selfish football. He's playing in a technique that he's not used to. He's always better on the outside. He's never played D tackle or nose guard. He's always played D end, and he's been effective and dominating. 3-time MVP Defensive Player of the Year because of those things. And it matters because of that. But when guys start watching my number one guy or one of the number one guys we signed to have to subject himself and humble himself to be on the inside, and he's doing stuff that we would not want to. That's grunt work. We call that grunt work. And if he's grunting and he's okay and he's making us better, then in truth, these guys should understand, who am I? Yeah. And tonight will be a great moment to say everything JJ said and the desire to win is not about me, it's about us. It's about we. And tonight, if they're listening and they're hearing his voice in their inner ear, like, what would JJ do? What would JJ do? WWJD? WWJD? I swear to God, these guys will come out and play with the energy and passion.
WWJJD.
Well, JJD. J-Deuce, because it's the intent. Well, thank you. Would be with one intent. I love my brother. I don't want to let my brother down. And when my brother watched the film, I want to make sure he saw that I gave all that I had on the team.
You know, we always talk about transferring of the guard when it comes to somebody from your position getting older and, longer in the tooth and like Aaron Rodgers, right? In a normal world, Aaron Rodgers is in the tail end of his career. Maybe the MVP that was Aaron Rodgers is now kind of fading away. Even though he won the MVP last year, it's kind of irrelevant with Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
Did Espo just give us a $2 super chat?
But I will say he did. He sure did.
For what?
What did I win?
Oh, yeah. No, we'll trade Espo because Espo already talks far too long, so it doesn't matter.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Hey, also,
whatever $2 is, let's do it.
So real quick, going back to my point real quick.
Hurry up.
J.J. Watt for Kyler Murray. No, I know Kyler doesn't incite a lot of, he's kind of hit or miss with the media. He's kind of hit or miss with his teammates. I think this is a moment right now that if he goes out there and says, listen, JJ's hurt and there's some things going against us, I'm going to take this thing over and I'm going to show you all that I'm the leader that you all hope that I could be.
Yes.
And that can endear himself to his teammates. And I think this is the night to do it. He's already been playing a little bit banged up in games, right? So that was kind of the next step of the evolution. I think this is another step towards that.
If Kyler's able to do that, hats off to him. He's going to step into another part of his game and who he in his career and who he is as a quarterback and a leader if he's able to do that.
The life of a football quarterback would be it's every week and it's every play. And to become the leader, once you realize that you lost some of the players that you need, the guys that were spokesmen, you need to become that spokesman, not just with your play, but with your words. And when the guys hear your play match your words, they match it the same way. I told Saul the other week, I said, tonight was, the conversation was, remember,
tonight.
Well, hold up now.
It feels like it was.
I'm trying to hang on. I'm trying to get a trick or treat.
Maybe I should go back to trick instead of treat.
No, hang with me. But reality is that when Peyton Manning went to the Denver Broncos, it changed the conversation because the bar was so low with the quarterbacks that, unfortunately, there hadn't been the guys since John Elway. And when Peyton got there, everything raised up. They won the Super Bowl. Tonight could be a great night for him, and just shut up all the naysayers.
Yeah. Everything
you're saying, Chierstin, is absolutely correct. He needs to be the guy that steps up and say a couple things, and then with his play. We're talking about the Heisman Trophy winner, first round draft pick in the MLB, and the NFL Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. Yeah. We have that guy. He has the power. He has the ability to. So tonight, with my score, I think 100% that it's going to happen.
Let's go. Let's do it, baby.
So, Espo, to you, and to you, and to us.
To you.
And to you. You know what? Tell the Cardinal fans. To him. And to him. And to Shane.
All right, guys, I feel like this is a good spot to wrap it on up. We've got a couple more minutes of the open bar and the buffet left before we get into game mode. We're going to be out here at the Lola all night long watching the game.
How cool is this, though?
It's great.
Thursday night football at the Lola with crowd, with a fan, and the noise in the back. We're always in the studio, except you. You've been on the road before, but check this out, though. You got like your home base. How cool is this to you?
This is my favorite. I love being, whether it's at a game or just out and about, getting to talk with people, talk with fans. This is what I live for. This is the best part of it.
PHNX, baby. Let's do it.
All right, we'll see you guys for our post-game show.